And now, everyone, now to our major story of the day. Earlier this month, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, warned against hate speeches and also said those who indulge in it will face harsh consequences, according to the Vice President, who was at the time acting as the President. He said hate speeches will be treated as terrorism. Listen to him.
The language of interaction, the language of exchange must be civil. We must not permit a situation where people talk anyhow. Whether they are leaders or elders, we must not tolerate a situation where people are allowed to speak in any manner that they desire.
Then President Muhammadu Buhari, as soon as he returned, came to back that statement in his broadcast to the nation. The president corroborated what the acting president said. Then he mentioned a medium that is the social media, where he believes the act is prevalent.
I was distressed to notice that some of the comments, especially in the social media, have crossed our national red lines by daring to question our collective existence as a nation. This is a step too far.
So then, the red line crossed, and the military feels it's time for them to step in. Take a listen to the military.
In the military, particularly, we are now, taking on it more seriously than ever. We have our strategic media centers that monitor the social media to be able to sieve out and to react to all the ones and the ones that will be anti-government, be anti-military, be anti-security. We tackle them appropriately with appropriate responses. And then we have measures in place, scientific measures, to be able to sieve this information and also to get to the public and let them know that some of this information they are getting, they are not genuine, they are not true, and their objectives are anti-corporate existence of this country. So those are the measures we are taking.
Well, now, let's get into the conversation. I've given you all the premise for the conversation to start. I have with me the spokesperson to the president, Madam Garba Shehu, joins us in the studio here in Abuja. And for legal perspectives and from the civil rights point of view, a lawyer and the executive director of PLAC, Mr. Clement Nwanko, joins us also on the program. Many thanks, gentlemen, for coming on the program.
Thank you.
Let me begin with you, Mr. Garba Shehu. Is the government recording the cause of Nigerians?
I'm not aware of that. But I know that this country, in fact, the whole world has a big problem with the balancing free speech and what we call in this country hate speech. Others, it has many faces depending on which country you're dealing with. In most of these European countries, America, they're dealing with Islamic terror. In America, white extremism and all of that. All of it fed substantially by the internet.
But as it stands now, if we get some of the reports that we're getting around, a lot of people will think that they need to get perspective to what you're saying from their homes right now watching. The question now is, are you aware that in the past also, the calls were monitored by some state government? There were that accusations and allegations flying around at the time.
Well, I believe that people can be justified. A lot of countries are taking notes. If Nigeria does it, I don't know. I'm in a position to say yes or no. But if it happens in this country, it is not extraordinary. It is not unusual. Everybody is interested. Look, this thing about international terror is big, and nobody is leaving these things to chances.
Is it the terror that the government is concerned about? Because we heard the military say, look, we're going to start monitoring social media. Are you also aware that the military says they will be monitoring the social media?
I have read it. If it is part of their role in national security duties, this military has been getting a lot of training, international support to deal with extremism in the country. They've been active, de-radicalizing, freed Boko Haram and other terror suspects in all of it. So they have capacity, they have education, they have capacity to help this country curtail unwanted excesses.
So you believe that the government should, in its capacity, record calls of Nigerians?
I'm not in a position to say yes or no on this matter. But my point is that if it is in the line of duty, if the government thinks that it is in the best national interest to do so, I will support it.
As a spokesman to the president, you're not aware that calls are being monitored?
It is not in my line of duty. I don't know.
Well, let me come to you, Mr. Clement Nwanko. Are you concerned, if you look at what SERAP is, there's a release from SERAP, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, came out to give this statement, and they did say, let me quote, it says, monitoring of the social media by the military is neither necessary nor proportionate and could portray your government as working to control the political and social media space. Classifying legitimate exercise of freedom of speech as hate speech is counterproductive. In exercise of their rights of freedom of expression and privacy, Nigerians should be allowed to speak truth to power and stand up for their rights. End of quote. It's an open letter to the president of the nation from SERAP. Mr. Nwanko, from your perspective, is it right for government or the military to monitor or record calls of Nigerians or even monitor social media?
Starting from the Constitution, is very clear what the Constitution says: the right to free expression, the right to disseminate and impart knowledge, and the right for people to speak. The Constitution, however, has its clawback provisions, whether in Section 39 or even Section 45 of the Constitution, which provides exceptions. Now, those exceptions relate only to public order, public security, and in the interest of the citizenry and the nation. Now, the challenge we have here is severalfold. One, it is not the responsibility or duty of the military to get into a space that is not within the law that sets it up. The military has the responsibility to defend the territorial integrity of the country, or we're called upon to maintain law and order by civilian security authorities. So I think it needs to be quite clear the extent of powers of the Nigerian military. And this would be clearly in violation of the Constitution and the law that sets it up for the military to embark on this. Having said this, I think there is widespread apprehension in this country that every single telephone call that anybody makes, including text messages that are sent, are recorded and held in custody of certain authorities. And if you look at the Nigerian Communications Commission Act, it requires that providers who are licensed by the NCC to provide communication services should have the capacity to retain both voice and data exchanges that passes through their network. So I think it's something that Nigerians need to know, that even the law itself requires that these companies retain those powers. But I must make the point that the overriding issue about access to the communications of all persons is whether those retention of it is in the interest of the nation or of the public. And we have seen examples where certain online media houses have put up entire conversations of citizens. And we have recent examples. The governors, some of the governors who apparently are in the opposition party, have seen their communications and telephone conversations thrown up. But the same way, we have seen people, or even the governors themselves, acquiring equipment to have access to the private conversations of individuals. So it's a widespread abuse question.
Is it a worrying situation right now?
It is a worrying situation because there is the extent, or the question to what extent technology and the powers of state are being used to abuse the constitutionally guaranteed rights in Section 39 of the Constitution.
All right. More analysis and insights into this very crucial topic. It concerns you. We'll return with more. Stay with us, everyone.